Yes, thank you, you guys. You know, as we have been talking about this morning, 2 more U.S. Olympic swimmers are back on American soil this morning. Jack Conger and Gunnar Bentz arrived in Miami. Here they are. They are part of that scandal in Rio in which 4 Olympic swimmers claimed that they were robbed. Ryan Lochte initially said that they were robbed at gunpoint, but police in Rio say surveillance video among some of the guys' stories at that gas station the night in question shows otherwise. They say that the Olympians were drunk and vandalized the business, then made up a cover story. Police say the athletes even paid for the damage and left that night. Now, the 4th swimmer, Jimmy Fegan here, he says he has agreed to donate $11,000 to a Brazilian charity to settle the dispute. The U.S. Olympic Committee has released an apology about the incident. Now, joining us to talk more about the charges he is facing, we have attorney Vikas Bajaj here this morning. Good morning, Vic.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
As always, thank you.
My goodness, right off the bat, what do you make of this case when you hear our Olympians are over there, they get involved in some... They're in legal trouble now.
Right. Absolutely. And number one, it's eye-opening. There are so many positive things about the U.S.'s performance in the Olympics. Gold medals, gold medals, gold medals. We turn on the TV every night and someone's swimming for a gold or hurdling for a gold or running for a gold. So it's unfortunate that this overshadows all the positive experiences with the Olympics this year. But if you actually look at it in a microcosm, it is a rarity that you have something like this happen. However, in my office, I've had the privilege of dealing with this quite often. There's something that's not really recognized here. Number one, Mr. Lochte and others were in a foreign country. They're not familiar with the judicial system, with the legal system. Everyone understands there are rumors, which based on reality of the horrible conditions in Brazilian detention facilities, even if it's transitory, being booked in for a misdemeanor crime. So these are fears that everyone has when they go to a foreign country. And surely when we talk about Brazil, there's a lot being proliferated in the media and otherwise based on statistics on the danger of being in the country. So you have an individual who experienced enormous success, gold medals and gold medals on the U.S. Olympic swimming team. The ego is then inflated. You have an individual who's gone out for a night of partying, not having to compete again in the U.S. portion of the Olympics, right? So now you have someone who's relaxing and kind of on vacation and in celebratory mode. And now you have an individual who's confronted with individuals that he doesn't know whether they have the authority to arrest or not arrest. He says he saw a gun. Initially, he says the gun was pointed to his forehead. Then, of course, after news stories are proliferated, the de-escalation of violence is happening. The bottom line is this young man lied. That's wrong. But should it be something that soils his entire career? Absolutely not.
Well, let me ask you this, though, Vic. So Ryan Lochte, he left, he came back. He was the first one to come back. The other 3, you know, were there in Brazil. They gave additional statements and testimony and all that. Can he be extradited?
No, this is a crime that is not extraditable, if we can say that. The Hague Convention is a convention and a treaty that's an extradition treaty that allows individuals who have committed crimes on foreign soil to be sent back to that receiving district. For instance, I had an individual, a young lady from Venezuela who took her 2 children back to Venezuela. That was child abduction. That's a serious felony recognized internationally. Therefore, there can be extradition, and there was extradition back to the United States from Venezuela in that case. In this case, what we have at most is what we could describe as misdemeanors or infractions. And that's why it's no surprise that we see settlements or dispositions, kind of like diversionary grants. Let's not have a permanent criminal record on these individuals, but let's see if we can slap their hand quite hard and make an issue out of it by, for instance, providing money to a charity. And we see one of the individuals has paid almost $11,000,
yeah, Jimmy.
To a charity of the choice that's now unnamed. But these are common consequences you see with good people who have had a lapse in judgment. And I don't think it's important for us to say, well, an individual who's inebriated in a foreign country did something wrong, has his hand caught in the cookie jar. Well, that fight or flight instinct then takes over.
As we wrap, one last question. If Ryan Lochte was your client, what would you advise him to do at this point?
Well, exactly what he did. In other words, leave the jurisdiction, because there is no obligation to stay if there's no arrest warrant and there's no search warrant and there's no argument that you have to be here as a percipient witness. Number one, he left. He's in a safe jurisdiction now. Number two, cooperate, come clean, and show remorse. That could do a lot insofar as saving some of his sponsorships for his practical day-to-day life.
Isn't that the truth? Well,
Absolutely.
we have yet to hear from him, so we're all just waiting to see if and when he's going to issue some sort of a statement about what happened.
Yeah, it'll come soon. You can guarantee that.
Yeah, well, I think he did, and I guess he did apologize. Yeah, he did apologize, so we'll
and
have a
there
statement.
are edited versions coming back, all right?
Right.
Now we're on, I think, our third
And we'll have
or
more
fourth.
on that in our next hour, by the way, Ryan Lochte and his apology. So thank you so much, Vic.
My
All
pleasure.
right, Carlos.